Hey everyone, this is Sportsman Periente. It still feels like a dream. It really still feels like a dream. The New York Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals. Let me repeat that again. The New York Knicks are in the Eastern Conference Finals. After all the years that we Knicks fans have endured, from the Porzingis trade to Andrea Bargnani, from Roy Hibbert blocking Carmelo Anthony in the 2013 playoffs, the Jeremy Lin run, just James Dolan and all his nonsense. We're here. We've made it back to relevance. And 2 weeks ago, what's so ironic, before we played the Celtics in this second round series, everyone said the Celtics were going to beat us in 4 games. Oh, the Celtics will beat the Knicks in 5. Oh, maybe the series will go 6. I mean, the Knicks were 0-4 against the Celtics this year. They didn't beat the top 2 seeds in the East. They didn't beat the top seed in the West. Everyone outside of New York said when it came to the Knicks, they had absolutely no chance. Well, how about now? After one of the most, I would say, amazing nights I've had as a Knicks fan, and I've been a pretty big Knicks fan going back to when we thought we would get LeBron James, and that didn't happen. Friday night was one of the most nerve-wracking experiences I've had before a Knicks game, because I knew if they lost, the series was over. If we had to go back to Boston, we were done. The Knicks beat the Celtics not by 5, not by 10, not by 20, but by 38 points. Just unreal. So now the Knicks are in the Final Four, and there's only one team standing between the Knicks and the NBA Finals. And it's a team that we're very familiar with as Knicks fans because we played them last year, and they beat us. Granted, our whole team was also hurt, so just a reference point to all the Pacers fans out there thinking, oh, we beat the Knicks, you didn't beat us at full strength. And I think, what's that old saying? Moving on. So the Knicks and Pacers will meet again for the second straight year. This is the 8th time, if you can believe it, since 1994 that the Knicks and Pacers are meeting in the playoffs. In those 7 meetings before, obviously, this series starts Wednesday night at the Garden, the Knicks beat the Pacers in 1994 and in 1999, both of which years the Knicks made the NBA Finals. The other 5 times we played them, Indiana beat us, including in 2000, which was the last time the Knicks made the East Finals, and in 2013, as mentioned earlier, with the Hibbert block and all that. And of course, last year when Nembhard hit that insane shot at the end of Game 3, and when Brunson got hurt, Bogdanovic got hurt, OG was playing on one hamstring, we didn't have Randall, and Halliburton, Obi, Siakam, and all those guys kind of ran wild on us. And we didn't have Mitch either. But moving on, I think this is going to be a very, very tough series for the Knicks. And all those people saying, oh, the Knicks will win in 4. No, this series is not going to be a 4-game sweep for either team. That's not going to happen. I think this series could go 6 and possibly 7 games because these teams are very, very closely matched with each other. We have Jalen Brunson, they have Halliburton. We have OG, they've got Siakam and Miles Turner. We have Deuce McBride, they've got Nembhard, TJ McConnell, and Obi Toppin, a former Knick. There aren't that many differences between these two teams in reality. What the X factors, in my view, are going to be for the Knicks to beat Indiana, which I think they can because they're at full strength this year. The Knicks bench, which has been really a weak point for most of the season, I think a lot of people would say, has to show up. And I just want to reference Deuce McBride because I mentioned him earlier. I have the stats right here. Against Detroit, Deuce McBride in 4 of the 6 games, I'm not sure about games 1 and 2, in 4 games, Deuce McBride scored a total of 15 points. And granted, that was the series the Knicks held on to by the skin of their teeth. Against the Celtics, however, throughout the whole Celtics series, Deuce McBride scored 48 points in those 6 games against the Celtics. If Deuce McBride can come close to that, and I would say score between, I would say 8 to 10 points per game against Indiana, I think that's going to be huge for the Knicks because we have to get some production from the bench while Jalen Brunson is on the bench or Hart is on the bench or Bridges is on the bench. We have to find a way. There has to be some offense from McBride like he did against the Celtics. If he can do something similar against Indiana, I think that depth will really help us. We need Mikal Bridges. Everyone, I'll be very open. I was not a fan of the Bridges trade or the Towns trade that took place this past offseason. I thought we gave up too much for Bridges, 4 first-round picks, and I think 1 first-round pick unprotected, so 5 in total. I've been clear on that. He proved me wrong, though, with those huge games he had against the Pistons in the first round. He was phenomenal in the Celtics series. Now, everyone will talk about, only in Game 4 he scored points, and only then, maybe Game 6 he scored points. For anyone watching that series, Games 1 and 2, his defense at the end of the games was phenomenal. His defense has been incredible this whole year, especially against the Celtics. I think he was the real X factor in that series, other than everyone can say, Brunson as well, they should. But without Mikal Bridges, the Knicks don't win that series against the Celtics. No way. He was that phenomenal on the defensive end, his effort, and the way he was able to get his offense in Game 6 and in Game 4, those were the differences in the Knicks, in my view, being the Celtics. And of course, OG, Josh Hart doing what he does best, getting rebounds, creating second chances. Mitchell Robinson, what a difference he's been since he came back. His defense and rebounding in this postseason, especially against Boston, was also absolutely amazing. And that play he made in Game 6, getting to Jaylen Brown, literally running from the other side of the court to stop Jaylen Brown from hitting a wide open 3, getting the steal, and which then led to the Towns fast break, which in my view was the play of the game. And as soon as that happened, I'm like, okay, we're going to win this game. Because when you see effort like that, you know that things are going your way, and that's exactly what happened. So if Mitch can play like he did against the Celtics on the defensive end and on the offensive glass, and he's proven that he can hit some free throws, so let's give Mitch some credit. He's improving slowly but surely on that. If those two can duplicate what they did against Boston, the Knicks have a very good chance. Now, that being said, the Knicks defense, we cannot have games like Game 5 where the Knicks defense was absolutely horrific. That cannot happen against a team like the Pacers. Now, I think last year in Game 7, granted, basically half the Knicks were hurt, But I think Indiana in Game 7 at the Garden last year shot almost 60% from the field. We're not going to beat Indiana if they're shooting 60% from the field. We're not. We have to find a way. I think what Tibbs did in Game 6 to really put Boston kind of in disarray in the first half, I think we need to do that maybe with the switches. Maybe I would double teaming Halliburton, stuff like that. Someone other than Halliburton has to beat the Knicks. That has to be the goal. If it's going to be Nembhard, fine. If it's going to be McConnell, fine. If it's going to be Obi, fine. Someone other than Halliburton has to be who is going to make the shots. I don't think guarding Halliburton one-on-one, unless we put Bridges on Halliburton, which you could do, or you put OG on Halliburton, that's one way to do it, but then Towns has to be very good on defense because Towns will likely be matched up against Siakam or Miles Turner, or you would put OG against Siakam or Turner. But Karl Anthony Towns also has to show up. There's been moments like in Game 6 where Karl Anthony Towns looks like the player we got from Minnesota. Then we'll see games like Game 5 where he commits 2 or 3 fouls in the first quarter, and then basically Towns is a non-factor the whole game. And also in, I think, Game 3 also Towns was a non-factor against the Celtics, and somewhat in Game 1, but he did get some rebounds at the end. So which Karl Anthony Towns shows up is also huge. We have to get consistent production from Towns. And Karl, you have to attack the rim against Turner and Siakam. I don't want to see you 30 feet from the basket jacking up threes. That's not your game. It's a part of your game, but it's not your strength. You're 7 feet tall. You have to attack the rim. If Julius Randle can do it with the Timberwolves, what he's doing so far in the playoffs, you can do the same thing. You don't need to score 30, 35 points a game. Just get us 15 to 20 per game. Get them in foul trouble. You just have to come with the grit every game. We can't be one game you show up, then the other two you don't. We're not going to beat Indiana like that. So the effort for the Knicks, that has to be there. On the offensive side, defensively, we have to do a much better job than we did last year against the Pacers, because there were at least 2 or 3 games in that series, I think in Indiana, where the Knicks lost by over 20 points, it felt like, or maybe even more than that. I haven't looked at the stats for that series in a while. The Knicks just have to come out aggressive. We have to play like we did, if possible, like we did in Game 6 against Boston. I don't know if we're going to duplicate that, but we have to find a way to come close to that. Because this is an Indiana team that a lot of people, I think, are not really giving a lot of credit for. I mean, people were saying, oh, Halliburton's overrated, oh, he's not that good, oh, it was whatever. Based on what I've seen so far last year against the Knicks, what he's done this year to Milwaukee, and what he did against the Cavaliers, Tyrese Halliburton is certainly not overrated. And when you have him, when you have someone like Siakam, who much like Obi also has won a championship and can play very good defense and average between 10 to 20 a game. You've got Miles Turner who can do the same thing. You've got players like Nembhard and McConnell that can make life hell for Jalen Brunson, McBride, Bridges, and all those guys. You've got Obi Toppin, who on any given night can come off the bench and hit a few threes like he did last year when he faced us in the second round. This is going to be a very tough series. The Knicks have to play their game, and they have to, as much as possible, control the tempo, because Indiana, like New York, likes to play very fast-paced, go up and down the court. And the Knicks, because they played a longer series, the Pacers won their series in 5 games. They had, I think, 2 more days off than the Knicks. The Knicks, I don't think we can get into a track meet with Indiana. I don't think that is going to work with the Knicks, because they've played 2 very physical series against Detroit and Boston. So we have to find a way to kind of slow the Pacers down because, like we saw last year, they can turn the game into a track meet, and it's very hard to keep up with them because they can jack up threes just like Boston, and they're, I think, maybe top 5 in the league also with the 3-point shots and knocking them down. So defensively, we have to control the glass with Mitch. Off the bench, McBride, Cameron Payne. Maybe if we can get Landry Shamet in, maybe he can get some points, take some pressure off Brunson and company. But there is a chance. And for us Knicks fans, it's been a really long time since the Knicks have had a chance like this to get to an NBA Finals. It's been, as I said, the last time the Knicks were in this position, I was under the age of 10 years old, and I think there wasn't no smartphones, no Netflix, no YouTube. There wasn't a lot of stuff the last time the Knicks were in this position. And it's to see New York City Friday night, to see that this whole city kind of go wild these last few days has been incredible. And to see Madison Square Garden the way it was in a Game 4 Monday night and of course Friday night, it was incredible. And those last few minutes of the Knicks game, when I knew we were going to win, but it hits you I think Knicks fans can understand when you put so much into supporting a team, and as a Met fan, I guess I can sympathize with all the heartbreak, with all the frustration that comes with it. When things start to change, it's just magical. I mean, these last few Knicks seasons have been magical. These last year, the year before that, when we lost to Miami. But to see the Knicks as contenders on a legitimate basis again is just, it's been amazing. And there's an old saying for Indiana, which I'll reference right now: revenge is a dish best served cold. And the Pacers have knocked us out last year, in 2013, and in 2000, and in 1998, and in 1995. We have not beaten the Pacers in the postseason since 1999. That needs to end this year. And if the Knicks can do what they did last round, I think it will, and the Knicks will make the NBA Finals. So my prediction is Knicks in 7, and New York, we need to stand up this week because it's going to be an amazing week or two of basketball at the Garden and in Indiana. So that's my prediction for the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go Knicks, and may the odds be ever in their favor.